In this video we're going to go over chapter 11 or some aspects of chapter 11, which is performing conditional processing using some conditional logic and Boolean operators. Okay, so the first program that I'm going to look into is program 11.2, which is a corrected version of 11.1. Basically, in this program, we are first of all creating a data set called people, which is reading from these data lines here. As you can see, this is column fixed format. That's why you have in the input statement we're using this this way of telling SAS where the variables are. So at the first column, starting at the first column, we have the ID variable with 3. It's a character variable with 3 spaces or 3 columns. So 001 is the ID of the first person, 002 is the ID of the second person, and then at the fourth column we have the gender, which is a character variable with only 1 column, male, female, male, male, etc. You can see how it goes. We did this before in a previous chapter. It's called the fixed column format. Okay, fixed column format. Yeah, so now in this data set, okay, we have these variables that we have here: ID, gender, age, height, weight, right? Then we want to create a new variable called the age group. Okay, age group. So we're gonna break this people into groups by the age, right? So if the person has an age which is less than or equal to 20, we'll say that it's in age group 1. If the person has an age less than or equal to 40, group 2, etc. So up to 80. And then if the age is greater than 80, then it's going to be group 5. Now, if there's a missing value, you should never forget to include the missing value statement, if you will, right? You have to deal with the missing values, otherwise you'll get into trouble when you have a space, right? For example, here the age of the person is on the 5th column and it has three columns, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there is actually missing observation. There may be some missing observation. Yeah, there is missing observations down here, right? So we don't have the age of this person. Okay, so we have to deal with that. So how do we do that? Well, we start with an if statement, right? If the age is missing, then we're gonna make the age group equal to dot empty, right? Now else. So this else is saying, okay, if this doesn't happen, then else, if age is less than or equal to 20, then we put the person in age group 2. Now else, again, if neither of these two happen, right, if age is less than or equal to 40, this, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is how you use the else, if else statement in SAS. So, and then I'm gonna print the data and see how it looks like. So let's do that. And as you can see, we get a table with, first of all, the ID was used for the ID column, so we don't have that observation column that we usually get. Genders, it was, you read it, age, height. You see there's a missing age here. Now age group. So this person is 54 years old. So that person, according to our code, is, on this group, right? Group 3. And that's exactly what we got. This person has 101 years old, which should be, okay, greater than 80, group 5. and so on and so forth. And then this person who did not have a reported age, we get, empty age group for that person. Okay, so that's how you deal with, grouping people using conditional processing. We're using, in this case, if else or else if type of operators, right? Now, we can also use some other operators like and, or not operators, which are called the Boolean operators. Now, for that, I'm going to show you this little program that I created here. It's kind of similar to program 11.5. I just use a different example. Okay, so I'm calling my data outliers. Okay, outliers. Outliers are observations that really do not belong in a data set, because they are usually from a different population, or they may be a recorded mistake or something. So one way of finding out whether an observation is strange, and therefore you have to look into it, is to see whether that observation qualifies for being classified as an outlier. So how do we do that? Well, in statistics, we have something called the z-score. This is something that you will learn in your statistics class. If the z-score for an observation is less than or equal to -3 or greater than or equal to 3, then that's an indication that that observation is a potential outlier. So I have created this very simple data set with, the data lines statement. So that means that I'm just including the data in the code. The input is the z-score for observation. So these are z-scores. So basically, I want to create a variable that tells me whether the observation is an outlier or not. So how do I do that? Well, with an if statement. But since I have two conditions, so if either one or the other condition are fulfilled, meaning that either the z-score is less than -3 or the z-score is greater than 3, then I will consider that an outlier. That's why I have to use the or statement, right? So if the z-score is less than or equal to 3 or greater than or equal to 3, then I will say outlier equals yes. So that is a new variable that I'm creating called outlier, that is a yes or no variable, right? I want this variable to tell me yes when the z-score is an absolute value greater than or equal to 3, and otherwise else outlier no. So that means that if it's not this condition, else, something else, outlier is equal to no. And this is my data. So let's see how it looks, when I print the data. So let's run this and see what the output is. As you can see, we have the z-scores. The program read the z-scores, and it created the variable outlier. So a z-score of 1.50, no, that's not an outlier. A z-score of 3.20, yes, because it's greater than 3. A z-score of -9.20, yes, because it's less than -3. 4.50, yes, greater than 3. 1.11, no, and so on and so forth. You see? So in this case, we used the if-else, but also we use the or. Okay? So if the z-score or the z-score is greater than this or less than this, then outlier yes, else no. So the or statement or the or operator is pretty useful. Also, you have the and operator, which means A and B, means that the two conditions have to happen at the same time, right? Or is either one or the other. And means the two conditions are happening at the same time. Like, for example, if you want to create a subset of data or extract in a data set people who are older than 50 and males, So the two conditions, males who are older than 50. So in that case, it will be and, the operator that you will be using. And then we also have the not operator, which means, well, not is the complement, right? In statistics and probability theory and set theory, we call it the complement. Not something. So, for example, if you want, let's say you have a data set that has different political affiliations for a group of people. Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. So the different affiliations for people. And you want to have a data set that does not include the independents. So you have to use a statement, right? An operator, a Boolean operator, which is the not operator, because it's not something. Not including or excluding, actually, in this case, independence. So you can take a look at that in more depth in the book. It's very well explained, but I just wanted to give you this couple of examples.